Week 1 of college football kicks off starting tomorrow. Russell Wilson signs a massive extension with the Denver Broncos, and White Sox manager Tony La Russa will be away from his team indefinitely. I'm Jay Crane. It's Flamin' Dragon Friday, and welcome to Crane & Company. When you're in the coaching profession, you take a little bit from each guy you work for, and one day when you become the head man, you implement those things. Now, I always found that scheduling was one of the most underrated parts of the job. While it is a team effort with the administration, these are some rules I would live by when it comes to picking opponents outside of our conference. Rule 1, never schedule a triple option team. I don't care how bad they are. It takes away valuable practice time because it's like learning an old extinct language like Latin. You'll most likely see it once a year at best, and possibly in a bowl game, which has its own practice time before you even play in the bowl game. Rule 2, if I'm going to play a neutral site game against a big opponent, we're going to do it in my state. Look at LSU playing Florida State in New Orleans, or Georgia playing Oregon in Atlanta. While it may count as a neutral game, we all know it's a de facto home game. Rule 3, never schedule a school that is built off a religion. I love watching schools like BYU, Notre Dame, and Liberty, but nobody plays harder or cares more than a team that feels like they're playing for the afterlife. That's motivation a speech could never provide. Rule 4, playing a good opponent in the opening week is a good thing. It gives you a barometer of how good you really are and can set the table for what to expect in a competitive conference. Like a good bakery, you need your fair share of cupcakes, but playing them game 1 can be fool's gold. And rule 5, and the most important, do exactly the opposite of whatever Jim Harbaugh does. Those are the rules. Trust me on this. I'm going to bring in former Michigan quarterback, a.k.a. the Redwood, David Cohn. My brother, former Western Colorado wide receiver.
There you go.
A.k.a. why can't I say that?
I don't know.
He's also known as Flaming Dragon on Fridays, which we know is the first Flaming Dragon Friday of week 1, which last week was week 1 to me, but we're not getting into that again because I got to talk about it every single day, David. But how are you feeling on this Flaming Dragon Friday?
I feel pretty good. I just would like to know, what did Jim Harbaugh do to you? Why are you out here talking bad about my guy?
Your guy.
Huh?
Your guy?
Yeah, that's my guy.
Okay. Wow. So
did you or did you not hear college football starts tomorrow? That's my guy.
That's your guy now.
That's my guy now.
You're circling the wagons.
Okay.
You've been a great Oklahoma fan.
Make it to another playoff.
Look, if he does that, I'll be the first one to say, listen, I'm starting to kind of change my tune on it. But I think those are pretty solid rules.
I love it. Great insights there. I'm trying to figure out a school that checks every box. You know, religious school runs a triple option. You can only play them in their state. Can't think of one right now, though.
I don't know if there's one out there, David, to be honest.
Yeah, well, maybe.
There may not be.
Maybe Blaine University.
Blaine
Flaming
State?
Dragon University.
Tanner State.
Call me Blaine.
Tanner State.
Again. Do it again.
That's my bad.
Dragon.
Hold on. Hold on. I will make up for this right now.
This is Flaming Dragon.
Exactly
Back to
right.
studio, don't you, Dave?
But why Blaine? I mean, Flaming Dragon. It's going to make sense. Would the nickname or the mascot not be the Flaming Dragons at the school you're at?
Who said it wouldn't?
So you're going to be the Flaming Dragon State Flaming Dragons?
Yeah.
What's the... No.
That makes no
Tanner,
sense.
Tanner,
perfect
the
sense.
Tanner State Flaming Dragon.
His real name's Tanner.
No, you're walking.
But no, on a serious note though, I like those insights. Because I feel like that's a PSA for schools. Y'all need to be listening to the guy here. As someone from Statesboro, man, I watched that triple option. A lot of people up. You know, Greg Hill, Adrian Peterson, bam, kick it out.
We played Navy twice, and it's just, and listen, I've got all the respect in the world for the service academies. I understand why they run the triple option. Don't understand why Vanderbilt doesn't, especially with a guy like Mike Wright, who'd probably run for about $250 a game. But I know why they have to do it. Being able to get big, consistent linemen to make that decision is tough, to be able to sit there and line up and run power and counter and stuff like that. You got to kind of, the lion, the witch, and the wardrobe your way through the offensive system.
I'm glad you brought up Vanderbilt. If they ran the triple option, seriously, they go out, get Paul Johnson, something like that, institute a great foundation for the triple option, how much of a problem do you think they could actually be in that?
I think they could be a legitimate problem. I think they could go to a bowl game most years. It's just, again, it's like if somebody came to me and started speaking Latin. I'm like, why are you doing this? What, you can't go to McDonald's and order something in Latin? They're not going to know what you're talking about. I'm not going to walk into Target and ask where the pillows are and say however you say it in Latin, like el se, pig lay,
You don't know?
pillow. No, I don't. I wasn't born in Rome or wherever that was talked.
So if Vandy ran the triple option, they go to a bowl game almost every year.
I think they'd have a much better chance. I think they'd have a much higher winning percentage, and they'd be a problem. Everybody in the SEC would hate to play them.
You would at least be recruiting a specific kid right now. Right now, you're trying to do the same thing that Georgia, Kentucky, and Tennessee are trying to do, and you're not, and you can't recruit against them. At least then you would be able to recruit a specific lineman, a specific halfback, specific fullback.
Very true. Very true. It's a system that, I mean, again, it worked for Paul Johnson and Georgia Tech. I mean, they had
and Georgia Southern.
I bet they're kind of looking back now saying, maybe kind of, looking back on it.
It's a big change, though.
I do want to say, we're going to recap the games from last night, the games from tonight, and the Saturday slate, the biggest stories on our new Sunday recap show that is dropping Sunday morning.
Yes.
Find it on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We'll obviously tweet it out, Facebook it out, Instagram it out, TikTok it out. I don't know, Truth Social it out. I don't think we have one of those, but we'll figure out a way. Also, Saturday special, Colin Wilson tomorrow.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Before you watch your games or you place your bets, you need to listen to that show. Trust me, we had him last year before we came over here, and it is a money printing machine. I feel like Jerome Powell, except I'm way smarter and not terrible with money.
Fact.
Exactly right. So what are we kicking off here, Coney? What are we kicking off?
Look, the Buckeyes and Notre Dame. I think we start there.
I think we do too.
Look, it's a marquee matchup here.
Look, I'm not going to be too long-winded about this.
17.
I've said, if Oregon doesn't beat Ohio State last year in the horseshoe early in the season, kind of look at this game a little bit different. Maybe they could sneak up on them. But after what happened to Ohio State last year, not only with Oregon, but with Michigan too, with the weapons they have on offense, I think they're going to be good enough on defense. They're going to be pissed off. Buckner, I know he can run. Can he be a consistent passer? We don't know that. Who's he really going to throw the ball to? Notre Dame isn't absolutely loaded with skill players. I think Ohio State walks the dog tomorrow.
What does that mean?
I'm not
Three touchdowns, 4 touchdowns?
Well,
I mean, 17 and a half is a line right now. I'm not saying the Buckeyes aren't going to win the game. I think they do. But can Notre Dame not keep this thing to 2 touchdowns?
I'm not touching that line. Yeah. I'm not betting on that game. I'll tell you right now.
Over.
What's it at?
What is
I don't know, but take the over.
It was 59 a couple hours ago.
I would look at Ohio State's TTP. I would look at Ohio State's total team points, because if you're looking at a 17-point spread and the over-under right now is 59.5, you said somewhere around there?
59 is what I saw.
So you're looking at, they're thinking 35, 23, 24, something like that. Or excuse me, I'm wrong, 17-point spread. Trying to do the quick math in my head. Again, I just wouldn't touch it. I like Ohio State on the TTP. If we get a chance, let's look that up and see if they have that posted out yet. They should. But if not,
I'll pull it up.
Check it out and look at it. But I don't think this game's going to be close. I like the Marcus Freeman hire at Notre Dame. He's had a tough schedule early on as a head coach. I would not judge him by these first couple of games that he's had, including the loss last year. But I am not touching it with a 10-foot pole, even though I do think Ohio State walks the dog. Those games can get a little weird, and I think there's some better games to bet on.
Ohio, TTP, 38.5.
Over.
Notre Dame, 20.5.
I would take the over for Ohio State in the TTP. I would do it. You down with TTP? Oh, you know me.
Yeah, they could put up 41 for sure. All right. We talked about Georgia, Oregon a lot this week, but why don't you go ahead and get out your final thoughts here?
Again, a game I'm not touching. I would not bet on this game. There's so many other games to bet on. It's such a dangerous, slippery slope when you're looking at these 17-point spreads. Because Dan Lanning, new coach at Oregon, was at Georgia. Like Rusty Manziel said, he knows that staff like the back of his hand. He knows the adjustments to the adjustments. I think this may be a lower scoring game than what a lot of people think. I know Oregon's breaking in some new guys in the secondary. They had their best corner get hurt in the spring. He's out during the whole year. I think you're going to see Georgia try and be more explosive on offense. I think Georgia wins by double digits. I just don't feel good enough about it to take Georgia minus 17, minus 17.5, whatever it is.
Lane, does your boy Bo Nix ball game 1?
Look, I'm getting to that point now where I want to see, as an Auburn fan, do I want to see, Bo Nix go out there and ball out, or do I want to see him get destroyed? I don't know which one I want to see.
You kind of Anakin and Obi-Wan
I don't know which one. I really don't know which one I want to see, but I think Oregon covers in this game. I mean, Oregon is one of the best linebackers in the nation. They bring back everybody up front.
Not bad up front, yeah.
Up front on offense. I mean, Bo Nix is going to be the guy. I do think it'll be somewhat low scoring. I'm interested to see how Stetson Bennett does without that freakish defense. I know the tight end room's ridiculous. McConkey got some underrated receivers. And I think it's going to come down to the line of scrimmage. Who wins the line of scrimmage in this game? Because if I'm Oregon, I'm trying to stop the run. because Georgia wants to get downhill. They want to get downhill quick. And third down is going to be a big, big piece for Oregon. But I like Oregon to cover. And hell, why not? Take a money line.
You took him to win.
Look, take a money line.
Listen, I will give you
I've said it on the show plenty of times.
I'll give you a chance to get out of it.
There's no chances. I'm not backing down for anything. But if I'm betting on this game, I'm taking Oregon money line in this game. I think it's plus 600, something like that. Georgia just coming off a national championship win, had like 37 guys drafted in the first round. Stetson Bennett is still their quarterback. There's some questions still out there. What the defense going to? They lost so much at the linebacker position. If you watch that Georgia team, and what was it, Klein or Sign, who the safety who went to the Vikings, who's a huge piece of that team. Seen, who's an absolute dog, by the way. But still, a lot of questions for Georgia, maybe a little bit of national championship hangover. And Bo Nix is one of those guys who will just freak out for 4 quarters. He couldn't do it at Auburn against Georgia, but maybe just have the game of his life. So if it's me, I'm taking Oregon, money line. A lot of bang for your buck for your dollar in that game. And it's week 1. Offense is going to start slow, so why not? Go Ducks. Dan Lanning?
Wow.
Dan Lanning knows the ins and outs, the secret tunnels in Athens.
You want to get out of it?
Never.
You don't want to get out of it?
He said
Georgia has a lot of big questions.
I'm not saying you'd be soft or anything like that. I'm just offering you an opportunity to maybe.
I don't draft Dak in the first round, bud.
I don't either.
You said you would.
I said if you're going a separate route and you've got the last pick in like a 16 or 18 team, or if you're one of those in those crazy leagues or whatever.
16 or 18 team?
Yeah.
Who is playing that?
I got a buddy in a dynasty league that has 18
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, well, they meet in like a living room and draft too, which I actually think is pretty cool.
I like that.
Yeah.
Talking about big questions for Georgia, I think the biggest question Georgia has is which hotel they're staying at in Atlanta for the SEC championship.
Yeah.
Go ahead and get
I feel like that game's going to be like when you were a kid and you knew you're in trouble and then your mom said, hey, wait till I tell your dad and he gets home. I feel like Georgia playing Oregon and Atlanta is like when your dad does get home and then you pretend to be asleep and he beats you anyway.
I thought you just said you wouldn't take Georgia to cover.
2 touchdowns is a beating, at least where I'm from.
Either way, I'm just glad we get marquee matchups week 1.
Yeah, right? But again, why would I take that? It's not more about Georgia. It's more about the other games out there to bet. Like I'm not betting.
But we're talking about this game. If you had to bet this game,
nobody has to bet this game. What is Liam Neeson? Another one of his kids get kidnapped?
Have to and blame.
If someone wants to bet this game,
no, I'm not playing that game.
If someone wants to bet this game,
if somebody wants to bet this game, well, if somebody wants to bet this game, they're a Georgia fan or an Oregon fan, because I don't think anybody outside of it is betting that game. And you know who Georgia fans gonna bet on? Georgia. You know who Oregon fans gonna bet on? Oregon. So who am I really talking to?
Neither fan of the team that's playing. They said, Jake, I want to bet this Oregon-Georgia game. What bet should I take?
If I had to pick, gun to my head, Georgia. I would take Oregon plus 17.5.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, all right.
Oregon plus 17.
How about some keys to victory? Why not start tonight? We got Illinois at Indiana.
Look, this is a matchup of 2 40-year-olds at the Y duking it out.
You bet.
Fundamentals.
Fundamentals. It's going to get really
a lot of White Sox.
A lot of downset hut turnaround. Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
And hand it off. Indiana, look, Connor Bazelak wasn't a great season, great career for him at Missouri. Now, the defense I know is terrible, and he didn't have a ton of help. Tyler Beatty was a beast. But I don't think he's a guy that's going to come in and just transform your offense. Is he better than DeVito, the quarterback at Illinois? Probably a little bit. But Connor didn't really throw the ball well last year, especially the deep ball when you go back and watch the way that Missouri played with the weapons that he did have when he was there. I watched Illinois last week, and playing a game before is very helpful. I know Wyoming couldn't complete a pass to save their life, but you still went out there and played somebody in opposite jersey. You put some stuff on film, but I thought they were pretty vanilla, especially in the passing game. Didn't take a ton of shots. You had a lot of stuff out of the backfield. I think the first touchdown they had was a wheel out of the backfield. There's a lot of the intermediate passing game. But Chase Brown, and I hope McCray's all right. I think he's going to be able to play. I think he's going to be fine. Looks like he may have a high ankle. This game is probably going to be ugly. It's probably going to be low scoring. Indiana, they don't have the best players in the world. Penix has gone to Washington. That team, to me, isn't going to really resemble, the one from 2 years ago, not last year when it was a disaster.
Exactly.
You have brand new coordinators on each side of the ball. I mean, Tom Allen, made more changes than Tim Allen in Home Improvement when you're redoing the garage. So I think it will be low scoring. I like Illinois to win this game.
Okay.
They have weapons. Defensively, they have maybe, outside of Jim Leonard, and I think Walters is younger, the best young DC in the country, and they paid him like it this last year. All right, you're going to hear about this guy. I'm just telling you. Walters, the DC from Illinois, you're going to hear about him because those guys, they can play. Like, they have good players, but they are so well coached. If you watch them fundamentally from up front to the middle to the back end, they play with great technique and they know where they're going. And when you know where you're going, you can play fast, because when you don't think you play fast, you're just reacting.
Blaine, you're not as big on Illinois, are you?
You know, first of all, this game, take the under. The under right now is 45.5.
Ooh.
I mean, I haven't seen anything out of Indiana right now, so you don't really know. But you go back and watch Illinois. First of all, Wyoming's terrible.
They are terrible.
Terrible. Like, they made no adjustments throughout the game. They had 5 passing yards at halftime.
Peasley couldn't throw
We could get probably 8 guys out there and have more passing yards than that and then in the first half. Am I lying? No. They tried the same thing, just beating their head up against the wall. And Illinois, their secondary is nice, but how do you really know, I mean, after watching a Wyoming team? Bazelak, you go back to Missouri, wasn't terrible in Missouri. Missouri's roster was just absolutely awful other than Beatty, if you go back to that offense. DeVito is the one I have the biggest question mark about. He missed some throws he should have made, and the only thing he did for 4 quarters was check the ball down. That's what he did. I mean, I think he didn't have a pass over 20 yards that entire game. This game is just so, I don't want to touch this game. I wouldn't touch this game. I mean, obviously Illinois has a good running game, but other than that, I don't know. I don't know if DeVito can throw them to a win. I think this game's going to come down to who wins in the red zone, who scores touchdowns and who kicks field goals. Mm-hmm. If you can score touchdowns in the red zone, you're going to win this game, because both these offenses I'm not sold on. I'm not sold on this Illinois offense. I'm not sold on this Illinois defense, because after what I saw with Wyoming. So a lot of people are jumping the gun on Illinois after they saw week 1 against Wyoming, and I'm not yet. I have to at least see them against a team that is somewhat competent in football.
Well, look, I know Wyoming lost a lot, but I wouldn't say they're incompetent. Peasley's just not able to complete a pass. They've got to find someone that roster can complete a pass. But if Indiana had played a game already and this was week 2, you'd have a much better feel, obviously, on this game. Here's a couple things. Indiana has not played a game yet. They're going to have to work out the kinks a little bit. Illinois has. From a fundamental mechanical standpoint, getting calls in, getting guys out on special teams in a live game, Illinois has done it. Second thing, Brett Bielema probably got the most out of one of the coaches that got the most out of a bad roster last year. Okay, with what Illinois was able to do. You remember beat Nebraska. You know, had a couple good wins. Yeah. Looked competent. Had an identity. I think Illinois has an identity. When you fire both coordinators like Indiana did, and you lose a bunch of guys at the skill position like Indiana did, and you had a bad year trying to use the identity you used 2 years ago, you're trying to find yourself. The under, I don't think, is a bad play here, because I think they're going to be scrambling a little bit, talking about Indiana in the beginning. But this is one where I feel like Illinois gets up 10, 14 points. Indiana figures it out halfway through the game, makes a little run, and it comes down to a field goal. Now, Illinois' field goal kicker did miss a couple last week. He's brand new. I'm going to give him a pass on game 1. Bielema said he looked great in spring, looked great in summer, looked great in fall camp. Sometimes you go out there and just don't go through the upright. So I don't want to jump the gun too much on that.
I'm with you on this one. I'm with you. Look, I like both of these coaches. I love Tom Allen. I love his energy. And I think the question everyone's asking about Indiana, is this going to be the Indiana from 2 years ago when you beat Michigan, you beat Penn State, you beat Wisconsin, had a heck of a year? Or is this Indiana from last year when you dealt with a lot of injuries? One of the coordinators you were talking about is my boy Nick Sheridan, was put in a really impossible situation when Michael Penix Jr. went down, which Washington's got a heck of a tight end coach now with him. Oh, and Michael Penix Jr. went out there with him. Yep. So, I mean, look, a lot of Indiana went out there to Washington. I'm just more willing to bet right now, until I see Indiana be a team from 2 years ago, I'm a little bit more willing to bet on what I know with Brett Bielema in Illinois, winning by 2, winning by 3.
Yeah, I think the under is. I'm interested, to see that line, how much it fluctuates tonight before the game, to see if it moves at all in that over/under.
Back to Saturday, Utah, Florida. You've been calling Florida for months now. Blaine, I think you and I both have Utah on this one.
Correct.
What's the keys to victory here?
I'm still riding with Florida. Keys to victory for Florida is they're going to have to cause turnovers. If Utah goes down there and plays a clean game, it's going to be a struggle even with Anthony Richardson. And with Kyle Whittingham and what he's been able to do in all phases, offense, defense, and special teams, it's going to be tough to force Utah to play somewhat of a messy game. And it's not just about turnovers, penalties, big special teams plays against you, doing things that are somewhat out of character for Utah. Now, Cam Rising hasn't been the guy during an offseason yet. So now you are the guy that's a little bit different. They did struggle at the beginning of last year without Rising at quarterback. He came in, put the Superman cape on, and we know the rest is history. I think Florida can use the unknown, but they are going to have to do some things outside of just playing good. I think if Florida forces 2 turnovers or more, they win the game. A lot of people will say Anthony Richardson's the key. Well, duh, he plays quarterback. That's a lazy take. I know he's very athletic and all that stuff. He's got to show us that he can throw the ball. But this game is going to come down to, can Florida make Utah play messy? Can they get them on their heels early and try and get because Utah's going to want to run the ball early. They're going to want, it's going to be hot. They're not going to want to run 4 verts the whole time. I think you're going to see Utah cramp up a little bit. So for Florida, the key to victory is they need to make Utah play messy and get at least 2 turnovers. For Utah, obviously on the flip side of that, the key to victory is just play clean. You don't have to go down there and play your A++ game. You need to go down there, handle the elements, handle the crowd, not make stupid decisions, be sound on special teams, tackle in space, and you need to start well. Because when you have a new coach that's going into a place like Florida at the Swamp, all they need is a little momentum to really start to believe. All these guys have egos. They believe they're going to win. We're Florida. They're Utah. We should win. But it's one thing to think that going out into the game. It's another thing when the game starts to all of a sudden you're looking around like, not only can we play with these cats, we're better than them. It's like Drake said, you know it's real when you are who you thought you were. So I think Florida, they're going to have to force Utah. Most teams lose games. They don't win them. They're going to have to force Utah to lose this game because I don't know if Florida's roster is good enough, even with Shorter on the outside and some guys that they have, to be able to just go and take it and dominate. But I like Florida to win. I'm sticking to it like you're sticking with Oregon. All right, Billy, I'm backing you up. Let's find out. Let's play a game called Let's Find Out.
I don't disagree with you on making the game ugly. I think it'll be a little too difficult for Florida to do against Utah. I think of Utah as one of these teams who really just loves the physicality, something kind of like an Oklahoma State or a Michigan State, to be honest with you. One of those teams that says, you want to make the game ugly? We'll see that and we'll raise you one. Whereas I think Florida against, say, an Oklahoma, Florida against like even a Texas, these big, more high-powered offenses who maybe don't necessarily play great defense just yet, they can maybe make the game a little bit uglier against someone like that. But to your point, they're going to have to do a lot of things just to give themselves a chance in the fourth quarter under a new coach. You're at home. Give yourself a chance in the fourth and see if you can go take it from Utah at home at the end.
Florida money line, Blaine.
It's a 2.5-point spread. Vegas thinks this game's going to be close. The difference to me in this game is going to be Cam Rising. You go back and look. Cam Rising makes big plays in big moments. And Florida's offensive line is huge. Their tackles are huge. Utah's offensive line is huge. Florida's defensive line is not great. Not a lot of athletes running around on the field for Florida.
So
Never thought I'd say that, but it's the truth. Utah needs to be Utah. Between the tackles, you need to whip Florida's ass. That Florida team last year was terrible. Their run defense was terrible. If Utah sets up the run early, all right, if they're having success early in the game running the ball, I think this game will be a 10-plus point game because then here comes the play action. Here comes Cam Rising in the boot. Utah, I know you lost 2 great linebackers, Utah did. But I'm pretty sure you got a transfer from Florida who's playing linebacker right now for Utah, and they have an identity. Utah knows who they are. Billy Napier is still trying to install that identity at Florida. So give me Cam Rising, a guy who has proven himself. I know he didn't start the first game or whatever it was, but when he started, they were rolling. The offense was completely different. Make Anthony Richardson beat you through the air. If he beats you through the air, then tip your cap and leave the stadium. But I don't think he can. The deep ball, phenomenal. He can probably throw it 120 yards. But can he throw the slider? Can he throw the off speed, the touch pass? And one thing Utah also does great is tackle in space. So I'm going to lean on Cam Rising. I'm going to lean on the offensive line. And I'm going to lean on the physicality, kind of what you said, David, of Utah. And Utah's always been a decent team when they play on the road. Cam Rising, experienced guy, not going to be afraid of the moment. He'll be the difference in the game.
Yeah. Look at Oregon last year. What they did to Oregon, they tried to make that game ugly. Utah was like, we're fine. We'll beat you now, and we'll beat you again. I think when they got into the Rose Bowl, they just, got out-athleted.
Ohio State had some cats.
You know what I mean? And even that one was close.
Yeah. And they were pissed.
And they were mad. That's what that loss to Michigan will do to you. Cincy at Arkansas should be a good one, and you locked this one in early. This is your weekly lock, right?
This is. Yeah. Go ahead. What you do, all right, you go into your parents' room, you look under the mattress, you take that $20, and you put it on Arkansas, -6.5. I don't know what it's going to be by the time they kick off tomorrow. I locked it in early. That's one of my 2 sharps at Arkansas -5.5. I think they may run Cincinnati out of the gym. Cincinnati having to replace Desmond Ridder, tough leader, a guy that put the team on his back. They could look to him and made the plays and could make the throws. But you lost 2 NFL corners, which is huge. I talked about the pressure that takes off a defense and a defensive coordinator when you have two corners that you can lock up the Z and lock up the X and say, we're just going to have fun in the middle and be able to mix it up. I will say, I am interested to see the interior of Arkansas's defensive line. They need to be able to stop the run. But then I go back and think, all they've done is practice against that Arkansas offensive line that's going to be as well coached as anybody. As Sam Pittman's the head coach, but still has his fingerprints on the offensive line. So they're not going to see better from a fundamental standpoint than what they've seen almost every day in inside drill, what they've seen in team drill and stuff like that. So I think they'll be able to hold up. I don't think Cincinnati can score enough points, and I'm very excited to see KJ Jefferson in his encore after I think he made a huge jump last year. Hazelwood, I think, can be a vertical threat. He's got to stay healthy, but Trey Knox at tight end. Remember that name. That kid's going to be special. They have a couple other athletes I'm excited about. I know they lost Traylon. Then on the defensive side, you return Catalan, you return Bumper Pool. I think you're going to be fine on the edge. That interior of the defensive line, I've already talked about it. So I think Arkansas is going to beat Cincinnati by at least 10 points.
Mm-hmm. What are you looking for here, Blaine?
I like Arkansas in this game, but I think it's going to be close. Cincinnati brings back their entire offensive line. I know they lost a lot. They bring back their tight end who caught 12 touchdown passes last year. You got to replace Desmond Ridder. But I think Luke Fickell does a great job installing the identity for Cincinnati. They're a tough team. I mean, they went to the playoff and lost to a great Alabama team. The difference to me is going to be KJ Jefferson. KJ Jefferson has only done what since he's been in Arkansas year in, year out. He's gotten better. You bring back Catalan at safety. Sam Pittman is going to have these guys coached up. This is going to be a 4-quarter physical. You're going to hear the pads popping through the TV type of game, and that's the type of game I love watching. But I think both these teams will be very well coached. I don't think you'll see a lot of penalties out there, even if it's week 1. But I think Cincinnati probably covers in this game, or you get beat by the hook. I think Arkansas is going to win this game by at least 7 points, but it's going to be close late. You lose Treylon Burks if you're Arkansas. That's why I'm worried. I want to see what KJ Jefferson has out wide at receiver. I mean, you're going to be good up front, but still. I'm interested to see how their D-line is for Arkansas, but I know both these coaches will have these teams coached up, and it's going to be a close game at the end of it.
Yeah, I do want to say one more thing on this game, Cone. If I had to pick out one key, it would be who has the most productivity on first down. For Cincinnati, if you look at it, if you're in 2nd and 8, and all of a sudden you're in 3rd and 7, and you have a new quarterback that's going to that environment to play, that is going to put a lot of pressure on him, because I know what Barry Odom's going to do. He's going to mix pressures. He's going to run some 2-man. He's going to mix it up on 3rd down, and it's going to put a lot of pressure on that kid to make throws that he hasn't really had to make in environments that he hasn't been the guy in. And I'm not saying he's a bad player, but that's asking a lot. That comes down to that Cincinnati offensive line returning. How much success can you have running the ball on first down? Can you get to 2nd and 6? Can you get to 3rd and 3? Can you get to 3rd and 1s and elongate drives and keep that defense off the field? On the other side of the coin, with Arkansas, you have an experienced quarterback. How unpredictable is Kendall Briles, the OC at Arkansas, going to be on first down? And when you've been there as long as he has, and you've worked with KJ Jefferson as long as he has, the whole menu is open. Arkansas is going to be able to run the ball with some success. I really, really believe that. KJ Jefferson off the play action and taking vertical shots on first down to keep Cincinnati from creeping into that box. Because if Arkansas gets you in 2nd and 5 consistently, Kendall's going to find a way to pull your pants down in front of everybody that you love in the middle of the musical. All right? So that, to me, first down, it's always huge. 2nd down's always huge. You get paid on 3rd down to either stop it or convert it. First down in this game is going to be massive.
Okay, I mean, one more thing. KJ's wheels are going to be huge in this game.
Yeah, he's got to be smart, though, running.
I think he's one of 2 quarterbacks last year that led the team in passing and rushing.
Yeah.
I mean, KJ's wheels, especially on 3rd down. Like, KJ's the type of guy, the play breaks down, it's 3rd and 7, and he breaks the pocket and gets the first down. If you're Cincinnati, you cannot let that happen.
Yeah.
Make KJ beat you through the air. Make him not with his leg.
And when he's doing that, I'm looking at intermediate pass accuracy from KJ Jefferson.
Yeah.
Intermediate pass accuracy, because I want to see consistency from him on that front throughout this entire game, because that's going to come into play as you start to meet up with the Auburns.
Hell yeah.
Ole Misses,
those windows just
Alabama.
get tighter and
You
tighter.
get more in the intermediate than you do shorter.
He got a great deep ball.
There's
Oh,
a
he's
lot.
going to throw the deep ball.
Yeah,
Great
there's a
deep,
lot more plays designed for you to throw the ball 8 to 15 yards than it is from 1 to 4 yards or 60 yards. It's just
I'm
that's how
looking
it
for the
is.
same thing from Will Levis whenever we get to Kentucky.
Yeah, the peel
intermediate
eater.
pass accuracy
Yeah,
throughout the entirety of a game.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I do. You want to do a little East Carolina, North Carolina State?
You want to do that now? How do you want to handle this?
Let's
Wanna
go ahead and
to
do
a
it now,
break?
and then we'll
Okay.
get to the break.
All right. So yeah, let's go to the next
I'm going to
tier.
be quick on this. I love the over in this game.
Okay.
All right, we're dropping our bet graphic tomorrow in the morning, obviously with Colin Wilson as well coming on the show. Really excited to talk with him about it. I feel like there's going to be a lot of points in this game. It's huge for East Carolina. This goes against one of my rules, right? One of my rules, the hidden rule nobody knows about. Never play an in-state team that's inferior to you. That's why Auburn never plays UAB. Alabama never plays Troy. You have nothing to lose. It's like fighting a person with no arms. If you win, you beat up an armless person. If you lose, did he kick you to death? I don't know. Nobody knows. I think you're going to see NC State. I know they've got a really good secondary, but East Carolina's got a little bit of a witch at quarterback now with this lefty, and they can score points, and they're not going to be afraid. That's the thing. First game, haven't seen him on tape. Devin Leary and them are going to go wild on offense, but I think East Carolina is going to be able to make it somewhat interesting. I think the line's at 11, 10.5, somewhere around there. I like NC State to win because they're more physical, and that's going to be the difference. But I love the over in this game. Do you have it pulled up right now, Blank? You pull up the over right now, what it's at? Because
it is 51.5.
Oh, listen, like we say, if you have a gambling problem, don't worry, we're going to win your money back. No, I'm just kidding. You need to call somebody and get that figured out. But I love the over in this game.
I like that. Look, NC State's getting a lot of love. I think this is a legitimate opportunity for NC State to win the ACC. You really can't do it unless you start off hot against East Carolina. I know it's not a conference game, but to me, you need to go in there. You need to win a road game by any means necessary. Because you're talking about, here's an example. You're talking about Florida trying to make the game ugly against Utah. This is an area where I think East Carolina could go in there and just be scrappy for 3 quarters. All of a sudden, they're in a ball game against NC State, who's gotten a lot of love in the offseason.
Game pressure.
And you're in the 4th quarter, and now you get a couple big hits, a couple big sacks on Devin Leary. Maybe he has to go out for a play or two. Maybe he's banged up, and you're in this thing. I think NC State needs to go on the road, win week 1 by any means necessary.
You need to kill him early. If you're NC State, you need to kill him early because that place is going to be rocking.
Yep.
Like I said, they're not afraid. You go in there and make a statement, hey, we're in here. I'm looking at all y'all. It's my city now. That's what you have to go do, and we'll see if they do it. I mean, Devin's got that dog in him. We've seen it before.
Yeah, I'm going NC State to cover in this game. I like the over, too. I think NC State's going to beat them up a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, just really think about this NC State team now. One of the best linebacker groups in the nation.
For sure.
The secondary's top tier in the ACC. Devin Leary's the quarterback, and you're pretty good up front. I know East Carolina's got a good quarterback, returning a lot of starters, but they're still East Carolina. If NC State's going to be the team everybody's talking about NC State's going to be and win the ACC or compete with Clemson, Clemson's defense is walking around with nothing but dogs.
Yeah.
First rounders walking around all over that defense. So if y'all are going to be that guy, y'all going to be that squad, you can't mess around with a team like East Carolina. I don't care if it's at East Carolina, and I don't care if there's quarterback's a lefty and he's his 14th year.
Bingo.
Y'all need to walk in there and know who you are from the minute that ball is snapped. And I think the difference will be linebacking core and Devin Leary. Devin Leary is going to be a dark horse for Heisman this year, and I think he's going to light it up right when it starts.
You got to get off the field on 3rd down. You can't let the guy scramble for 3rd and 8s and just continue to get drives. They'll shove it down your throat. But if you want to watch the rest of the show, remember we're going to have the audio here as well. Head over to the Daily Wire Plus and become a member or listen on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe. Leave us a 5-star review because you know you love it. There's a 6-star review available. Leave that too. And share it with all your friends. We'll be right back. It's week 1 or whatever they call it. All right, everybody, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube. We really appreciate it. Spread the word out there. We're growing like a weed. Keep the weed killer away. Rapid fire, Cone. Shout out to the Booster Club as well. Obviously, you figured out we're not live.
They figured that out?
They definitely figured it out.
Russell Wilson, one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL, signed a new deal, contract extension with the Denver Broncos, 5 years, $245 million. 165 guaranteed, Blaine, was it?
Ooh.
$165 million guaranteed, much deserved.
I think it is. I mean, they're relying on him in Denver. I mean, again, a guy who's been to multiple Super Bowls, who's won the Super Bowl, the consummate team guy. I mean, the dude's got good enough moves to get Sierra to marry you. I don't know what else you're going to ask from a person. So I think Russell's a great fit in Denver. I thought it was the right move for both parties. Russell getting out of Seattle, look, it was a good marriage. We don't love each other anymore. The kids are out of high school. Let's split up. It's going to be very interesting to watch the Broncos continue to put pieces around him because I love the Broncos' young offensive line. Their offensive line, I'm telling you guys, they're nasty. They have a ton of potential. They're big enough and they're athletic. If you're Russell Wilson, I think you're going to see Denver take a page out of Pete Carroll's playbook and try and win the way they did in Seattle. Be good on defense, good run game, quarterback that's mobile, that can make enough throws. Is Russell Wilson the best quarterback in the NFL? No. But I love this. I think it's a really good fit. I think he's a good fit in the city of Denver, and I'm happy. Good things happen to good people.
Too much for him at his age, or what?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's too little.
Really?
Oh,
I mean, look at Kyler Murray. I think what did Kyler get? 180 guaranteed, 180 mil. I mean, what has Kyler Murray done?
Well, I mean, he's not
in the playoffs. I know it's still. I mean, he hadn't done nothing in the playoffs. I mean, Russell, you're going to be their guy. I understand you might be a little older. It's different city, entirely different thing. But 160, man, I feel like you settled a little bit. I would have saw him in the 180 mil guaranteed. And now, I mean, now the only thing I think about this is Lamar Jackson. They're going to have to pay Lamar Jackson out the yin yang.
Yeah, they're going to have to give him half of Baltimore.
Pay that man his money, or he is not going to step on that field.
Well, let me ask you this, though, too. When I look at Russell Wilson, I think he is the type of guy, maybe did he pull a Tom Brady? Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Give me 165 mil guaranteed. Let's
bring in the guys.
Some more weapons. I think Russell Wilson's that type of guy.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think he's genuine. Some people think he's a kiss ass. I think he's genuine.
Yeah.
I think it's 100% genuine. That's how he is. And I will never, ever forgive Gus Malzahn for passing up on Russell Wilson when he wanted to transfer to Auburn. And then he ended up at Wisconsin. Clown.
The Broncos have been one of those franchises, one of the few franchises proven we'll go get elite quarterback talent with serviceable years still left in their careers without having to draft them. Did it with Peyton Manning, done it with Russell Wilson now. It's kind of rare. Usually teams have to get lucky and
they just got to stay healthy, man.
Yeah.
They just got to stay healthy. I mean, you think of the running back they got, Javon Williams, can't remember his first name. You got Jerry Jeudy at receiver. I mean, Tim Patrick, Javonte tore his ACL, is going to be gone for the year. You still have Cameron Sutton. You still have weapons out there. Young offensive line. I mean, you still got Patrick Surtain, cornerback, one of my favorite players to watch, especially at Alabama, man. Patrick Surtain, God, absolute stud. But they're young and they're good. They're going to be a problem in the next 5 years.
Yeah,
sure.
Broncos in good hands.
Hey, Timmy Trumpet is at the Mets game live for our boy Edwin Diaz walkout.
I hate saying good things about the Mets, but Edwin Diaz is the Puerto Rican Rick Vaughn, and I love it. Play the clip.
Best walkout song ever.
They even brought Timmy Trumpet out to do it.
This is sick.
This is so
live at the field.
He runs with the rhythm of it.
There's no way you can't get the save. Is it the greatest walkout
You're
song?
out.
It's the greatest walkout song.
You're out of there. Swing and a miss.
They even got their little trumpets. Oh, that was fun.
Lit.
How do you not get the save?
You're going to get the save.
You're getting the save. They should just end the game.
Unless you're playing the Braves, you're getting the save.
That's exactly right.
For sure.
Subway Series coming up.
Is it? Yep. When is that?
Pretty soon.
I know they played one a little bit earlier as well.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to say it. I will say I don't like the Yankees, don't like the Mets, but the Subway Series they played for the World Series was super duper dope. Right after September 11th.
So if I told you either the Yankees or the Mets were going to win the World Series this year and you got to pick who wins, who would you pick?
What's option 3?
Nope.
Who do I have to kidnap?
Nope. This is forced.
I'd rather the Yankees win it.
Really, the Yankees?
Yes, because they've won a bunch. The Mets haven't won a bunch. I want that pain to continue. I want them to get so close, almost there. You can touch it. What's that commercial? It's like, you got to be quicker than that.
After that walkout music with the polar bear too, you're going to pull for the Yankees, huh?
The polar bear is everything that's wrong with baseball right now.
Why do you say that?
All he does is try and hit home runs. He's a home run derby guy. That's what he is.
You gonna let him talk about your New York guy like that? You're a Mets fan
No,
too.
please.
I know you love the Mets.
Please continue. David, you hate home runs. You hate him.
I'm surprised you're not on my side.
You hate him. What are you talking about?
Get off my lawn.
I like Pete Alonso. All right, let's stay in the MLB. Tony La Russa, White Sox manager, out indefinitely for health reasons. Your thoughts here?
I hope he's okay. Blaine, you're right. You're awake.
It's Tony La Russa.
I know. I hope he's okay. Obviously, he's older in age. It's time to hang it up, man.
Yeah,
I know they had the video of you falling asleep during the first inning. Look, 7th inning, I get it. 8th inning, I'm asleep too if it's not close. 9th inning, don't know what happened because I'm checking the score in the morning. But I'm also not the manager of the White Sox. Bring back Ozzie Guillen.
Dude,
Bring him back.
Man.
Bring back Ozzie Guillen. But and also here's Tony La Russa.
Yeah.
I know he's had some off-the-field stuff. Hope he's okay. It's a health thing. Again, I hope he figures it out. But the White Sox need to bring back Ozzie Guillen. They need it. They've got a nice, you got a nice core. You got some pieces. Dylan Cease out there just throwing flames. Shout out Flame and Dragon. I just think you need to bring in Ozzie Guillen.
I've never met a bigger White Sox fan than Ben Shapiro's father.
He's
He is adamant that the White Sox should bring back Ozzie Guillen.
I'm with him on that. They should. Who should the White Sox hire then? In the comments, tell us. Who should they hire? Boots Club, who should they hire?
Or you
Us?
just do it for half?
Look, let's buy the team.
By the White Sox?
Let's buy the White Sox.
Well, the Angels, there's no way they're letting
I
they hire
don't
by
even want that poison close to us. Let's buy the White Sox.
I want Shohei, though.
No, we'll get Shohei.
We'll get him?
We'll make a move.
Who we
Tim
giving
Anderson,
up?
get out. Who else do you want? Get out. Shohei, please.
You should have a segment called Bring Me Your Playbook.
That'd be good.
Hey,
That'd be good.
Yeah.
here you go, Coach.
There it is.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just have to bring it. Yeah.
There you go.
Now get out.
He kicked me out.
You're off the team.
I Xeroxed all of those, by the way, and I'm going to send them out to the world. Yeah.
Coach Carter's the
okay,
CEO of this. Listen, learn.
All right. College expansion, college playoff expansion.
Yes.
Now, a lot of news breaking about now they're trying to get back together. I'm not happy about the timing. You go ahead.
The timing is not good. Okay, and if Dennis Dodd and them released something saying that college football, they may expand to a 12-team playoff within this contract, which is something I said in an open about 2 weeks ago. You can go look it up. Just like I said, there's no way in hell that Texas and Oklahoma stay in the Big 12 through 2025. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. And what are you hearing? Oh, they may leave early to the SEC. We saw the same thing with A&M, saw the same thing with Missouri. This is in the same vein as that. There's no way with them looking at what they're looking at that this college football playoff format makes it to 2025, boys. So now they're saying there's a chance it could go to 12 starting in 2024. And like I'll continue to say, since we were doing the J-Boy show, since I started doing that, I think the perfect number is 8. 5 automatic qualifier winners who win their conference championship and 3 at-larges. I think 8 is good. Once you get to 12, to me, and some people say, oh, well, if 16, you do a bye week, you can still have the same amount of regular season games. I don't want to flirt with it. 12, to me, is the cap. And that's where they're starting off after 4. Because here's what they did. They looked at the national championship game. They're like, all right, there's 2 teams. They're like, man, what if we went to 4 teams? We could double the profit. Well, then they look at what it's done in college football playoff with 4. They're like, oh, my goodness. It's like the movie The Campaign with the Koch brothers. It's like, we could triple the already doubled profits going from 4 to 12. Yeah. Why don't we go to 8? Because I know you're going to get past 12. We're not stopping at 12. But 12 to me is the cap where you don't have to. It's not about watering down the regular season. I think expanding it to 8 to 10, 12, like I said, is the cap, makes the end of the regular season more exciting. Now the games matter more because more teams are in it longer. Now that game that nobody really cared about, is like, man, if we win this one, we'd have a chance to sneak in to the playoff. If we lose, we're going to be totally eliminated from the playoff. And you'll have less opt-outs because those opportunities are there at the end. I'm more worried about having to cut down regular season games because the more you expand to 16, that's more games. You expand to 20, that's more games. And people are always, and you say this, David, it's a great point, people are always going to complain about not getting in. Hell, Texas A&M was complaining about not getting in the NCAA tournament. It has 68 teams in it. So there's not a format that everybody's happy with, or somebody's not going to complain when they don't get in, or gripe when they do get in at the end. 12 to me is the cap before you start having to take regular season games away. And that's what scares me, It's not the watering down, it's the cutting out of regular season.
Look, we had all spring and all summer to talk about this, and the Big Ten and the ACC and the Pac-12 wanted to form an alliance, install it, and here we sit on the precipice of Week 1 kickoff games, and now you want to talk about playoff expansion? No, let us have football season. You go figure it out at your meeting next week in Dallas or wherever they're getting together. Figure it out, get it, and then we'll talk about it. All right? Until you have something, can we watch the game?
I'm so sick of talking about this. I'm so sick. I just need this to be figured out before the new NCAA game comes out.
So by next year,
by next
July
year,
2023, what is it?
I think you're right. Yeah. I just need it figured out.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah. What about the what's this this news about targeting or hitting the quarterback? You were talking to me about it. Because I'm interested, so I can maybe.
Let me see if I can find the rule and I'll read it.
There are a few things in this world that upset me as much as officiating. I don't know how you guys do it. Everybody's like, you need to respect the official. Well, when you make the call I want, I'll respect it. But the way you treat defenses nowadays, I don't respect
the call you want or the right call?
No, the call I want.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Because that is the right call.
Oh, I see.
And they're the only profession that doesn't get held accountable. Players get held accountable. Coaches get held accountable. Hell, if I throw a paper airplane from the top of the upper deck out in the field as a fan, they're kicking me out. And I'm not saying they don't get graded, but when's the last time you heard of a ref getting fired? Angel Hernandez still in the major leagues.
Not with that missed call with the fumble at Nebraska the other day. That one for sure.
That was a fumble.
That was definitely a fumble. That was definitely a fumble when you had Northwestern plus 12.5.
Can't believe you guys.
I
didn't have a bet in that game. It was a fumble.
It was a fumble. No. Sorry, David. Sorry for your loss.
Terrible missed call.
But anyway, they're saying that. Do you have the rule pulled up?
I'm looking for it.
That they're basically what it says is, and I really hope this is under the arena of targeting. I hope they're looking at true targeting. Because the rule basically reads that you cannot they're calling a quarterback in the act of throwing defenseless. Okay, so that means the ball's in my hand and I'm in the motion of throwing or I am set to throw. Like when the water boy looks when he's about to throw the pass to the end. I'm set to throw that you can't hit me. I hope that's not the deal. I hope they're talking about targeting. And you know what? I'm good with that. Don't target. But if you're saying that I have to let the quarterback throw the ball, then you need to open up your mailbox because there's a letter in there, a strongly worded letter from yours truly. And it says one thing, sadness. Because the nerfing of football from the NFL, you can be safe and it still be violent. All right? Yeah. But you're never going to take the violence out of it by trying to tell people that are going full speed at a moving target that you can't miss by an inch. Or when somebody is literally doing this, what happens if you want to go and swat the ball out of his hands? It's a fumble. Strip sack. I hope this is under the guise of targeting. Because if it's not, NIL's not ruining the sport. Transfer portal's not ruining the sport. Conference realignment's not ruining the sport. You idiots in those stripes and making those decisions are ruining the sport. And you do it under the guise of safety. I'm going to tell you something. That quarterback's going to get hit. He's going to get hit.
Yeah.
Okay? That to me, and again, I hope that it is, under the guise of targeting. You cannot launch somebody or you hit somebody in a certain way when they're throwing the ball that could be taken as targeting, which I don't like that rule anyway. Understand it more than what I think they're saying. But if you're saying I can't touch the quarterback,
well, it's not football.
Really at all. That's not football.
No, it's not football. So.
All right, I got it right here. Article 14. A defensive player is one who, because of their physical position and focus of concentration,
a defenseless player.
Yes, is especially vulnerable to injury. When in question, a player is defenseless. Examples of defenseless players include, but are not limited to, a player in the act or just after throwing a pass. This includes a player in a passing posture with focus downfield. So you can't hit a guy when he's in the act of throwing.
There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. There is just no way. There's no way that's what that means. I heard you, and I know the words and the definition of the words, but there is no way. Number one, that you drop. I know they tell the coaches the rules and stuff before the year. I watched Nebraska Northwestern. Quarterbacks were getting hit in the throwing motion, and there was nothing that was called. Mm-hmm. So I don't think this rule was just made up yesterday. May have been released yesterday, but these coaches know the rules. These referees tell them. It looked like normal football to me last Saturday, but if y'all start calling this, you want to talk about picket fence? You want to talk about boycotting? I'm going to be boycotting. I will Susan B. Anthony this thing till the cows come home.
I just want DBs to quit holding. That's all I want.
You know what?
That's all I want. That's all I want. Quit holding.
Brett Favre had to tell you.
Let go of my jersey.
Brett Favre had to tell you that I was right. How about that?
Did he?
He did.
I don't think he did.
Yeah, he did. He said the rules are slanted toward the offense. You can't breathe. To quote Brett Favre, you can't breathe on a receiver. He said you can't look at a receiver without quarterback. A penalty. Don't take my word for it.
He said quarterback.
Take Hall of Famer.
He said quarterback.
Take Hall of Famer Brett Favre.
That's a good chance to plug the episode.
Favre. Spelled so weird. Hey, who can spell Favre right in the comments? You may win a prize.
You can just look it up.
Well, I'm trusting.
Way to ruin the game.
Is it?
You're just a thief of joy.
I'm not.
You are.
I'm not.
You are.
Quit holding.
God, quit holding?
So annoying.
You guys hold more than a bank account.
Just let go of my jersey.
Y'all never block
Stop tackling me when I'm in the act of throwing.
No, please. Feel free to hit the quarterback. I'm
sitting here trying to complete a pass, and they come up and they want to be physical.
You want to come and hit me?
You know, and I got an extra year of eligibility. You know, we'll see.
So we're going to make 2 bets today, made 4 yesterday.
Let's do it.
Going to talk about those results tomorrow morning. Got any leftover games?
Leftover games?
Let's go. We got a couple, right?
How about this? UNC at App State. Kind of unusual there. What are you thinking?
App State returns Chase Bryce. Most of their offensive linemen, no receivers, and a nice 1-2 punch at running back. It's basically a pick 'em. North Carolina, Drake May against FAMU. Didn't look great on defense. I think this one is coming down to the wire. And I am going to look right in the camera and say that I think that North Carolina wins the game.
Hey, there you go. Because to me, any Power 5 team that would lose to Appalachian State in the opener, first of all, you've lost all credibility, and you don't ever deserve to talk about sports, for sure not in front of a camera or anything like that. So North Carolina needs to win this ball game.
Show me on the.
You got North Carolina?
Huh?
You got North Carolina?
Yeah, well, actually, I mean, I would be thrilled if Appalachian State would just beat as many Power 5 teams as possible.
Show me on the dog where Armani Edwards touch you.
Look, I want to move on.
Let's move on, because I know that's a sore subject. So I know it's a little sore.
All right, how about, we were talking about Houston at UTSA.
Yeah.
4.5.
UTSA pumps in so much fan noise into the Alamo Dome. When we played them, I was like, listen, I've been in stadiums. This is not.
A lot of points.
That'll be a fun one. BYU.
What's the over-under you got?
61.5.
Woo!
61.5 for Houston, UTSA?
Houston minus 4.5.
Yeah, I like Houston to win this game by a touchdown. UTSA is going to put up a fight. They were a good story last year. Jeff Traylor's done a great job, but they're not sneaking up on anybody. BYU, South Florida?
BYU at South Florida, yeah.
BYU again. What's my rule? What's rule 3? Never schedule a team that plays off, that goes off religion.
Yeah.
And they're all 30.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's
and
true,
they're grown
too.
men. They pay mortgages and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Arizona at San Diego State.
Jed Fish. They got Delora. I think that kid can play. I think he was freshman of the year before he headed over to Arizona. I think Arizona's going to put up a fight. San Diego State, always tough. Got Burmeister from Virginia Tech.
Burmeister.
5.5.
5.5. San Diego State, the over-under is 47.5, and the under is actually the favorite odd.
Give me my boy Brady Hoke.
You like Brady Hoke? You think San Diego State's just going to tough it out and win it?
Yes.
They're tougher than a $2 steak.
God,
Speaking of.
They're so Zach Calzada.
I'm so Zach Calzada right now.
So tough.
You're third string?
Is he going to start a game for Auburn this
I don't know, man. I hope Auburn does extremely well. I hope they do.
Great job getting a third string quarterback out of the portal. Y'all could have just got me.
I know I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done.
I'm done.
I'm done talking about them. Whatever. Y'all just have a great season.
Good luck.
Yeah, at this point, you can't let me down than you have throughout the years.
Yeah. Well, what can you kill what's already dead inside?
Exactly.
That's the truth. Here's what I got tonight. Illinois, -1. All right? They're the dogs in there. But guess what? I let the dogs out. So they're going -1 and +115. And that's a dog bet. And guess what? All dogs go to heaven. Well, some of them don't, especially the one I used to live with growing up.
You okay?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay. All right.
Charlotte, -7 against William and Mary at -110. Funniest football quote I've ever heard. Lou Holtz is coaching at William and Mary. They lose a game. They asked him why. He said, we had too many Marys and not enough Williams. That is genius.
I can't believe Brian Kelly never responded to any Lou Holtz letters.
It's not.
Well, he couldn't understand them. They all ended in SH.
It's disrespectful. You can't respond to the head ball coach.
Yeah, I just picture him writing those letters.
You see this like, dear Coach Kelly.
He's got the pen, probably like his own ink. She's like, I can't wait to write this letter to Coach Kelly.
You know the part that really got me at the end? He goes, I responded to every letter that came into Notre Dame, but some guys are just different.
Every letter, yeah. He has like one of those pins with the feather on it.
Yeah.
He's like, Dear Brian to Kellys, welcome to University of Notre Dame, touchdown Jesus University. All right, give me Charlotte -7 against William and Mary because Charlotte, I know they look bad.
I like that.
Against FAU defensively. I mean,
They came out hot.
They did. They couldn't tackle a math problem in a sixth grade classroom. Donnie Reynolds, who is the Mike Winchell of college football, just play good. It's William and Mary. This isn't a math contest or debate team. It's football. Win. David, what do you got?
Well, I would feel disingenuous if I told the Booster Club that I like Illinois over Indiana and then didn't make that one of my picks. So I'm going to take Illinois, but I'm going to take some points, +2 at -110, and then Virginia Tech -6.5. Lock it in, and that's at -110.
Old Dominion.
We bet buds on that?
I'm also taking Virginia Tech -6.5, -110.
Beat Old Dominion.
And give me the TCU Colorado over 53.5. I went a little alternate total right there. I think it's at 57.5 or 58.5. And while we're speaking of Friday Night Lights, you know, when I think of Friday Night Lights, everybody thinks of Mike Winchell or Boobie Miles or the Water Bug.
Chavez.
I think of Chavo, man. The safety. Poured his heart out.
Only guy on defense they ever. Well, no, the guy who never talked.
Yeah, but poured his heart out, caught the pitch. You know
That
how
was
hard
a
it is
great
to catch a
play.
pitch.
That was a great play.
That's all instincts right there, man. I just think of Chavo.
And I still think the doctor from Midland lied.
Oh, for sure. Now, Tim McGraw needs to chill out.
Yeah, Tim McGraw, please.
Chill
Treat your
out.
son better.
What's your deal?
All right, Baby Cone. He's going to be bet buds with me. Charlotte -7. Together, let's be friends. Then Michigan State, Western Michigan. Little in-house battle here. Never schedule it. Under 54.5 at -105. Gentlemen, Booster Club, make sure you put your bets either in the chat or underneath the comments on YouTube or wherever. It's more college football after we got a little bit of college football from last night. David Cone, parting thoughts on Flaming Dragon Friday.
I'm so pumped, guys. September 1st, fall, football, barbecue, fantasy draft.
September 2nd.
Well, I just meant it's past September.
Oh, yes.
You know what I
Gotcha.
mean? I just mean it's September is basically what I mean.
Okay. It's a September to remember?
September to remember. To be honest, I just want my playbook back. Because now I feel like I got fired.
You got cut.
I
You
had a
got
question.
cut from the team literally in the middle of the show. What?
You just fired me.
Should my total bets be different?
Yeah, it should be
Yep.
worse.
Yep.
It should.
Yep.
Yep.
We're gonna,
I need 8 more bets up there, bud.
Yep. I'm gonna change that.
160 and 150.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, I appreciate you pointing that out. You know, how about you write on the board from now on?
Sure.
How about you do that?
If you want me to do that, it's fine.
Hey, we're in the green, though. We said if we're in the green,
That's
come
exactly
football
right.
season.
That's 100% correct.
Yeah.
But anyways, appreciate you guys. Make sure you subscribe everywhere. TikTok, all that stuff. Like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Tomorrow, Saturday special, Colin Wilson from Action Network. We're talking bets. Do not place a bet, all right, until you listen to that show. Trust me on this. And then Sunday recap, Sunday morning, before you go to church, we're going to be talking everything big from the weekend of college football. And when the NFL starts, we're going to be previewing that as well, including bets and fantasy picks. So if you're not subbed now, go to Apple Podcasts, go to Spotify, leave a good review or make fun of us. I really could care less, but be nice. We appreciate you guys. And like the chances of me not enjoying a whole college football slate on Saturday and then FSU, LSU on Sunday, which we'll be talking about in the recap. We're going, gone.